Hi YouTube. So I've been making a mess. So lowering the truck more. I got beams. So for those of you who don't know, Rangers have I-beam front suspensions, and when you try to lower them without modified I-beams, the camber gets really weird. So we have these. These are DJM. I just got finished pressing bearings in, wheel bearings in. I already did the driver's side, so that way when I filmed I wouldn't look like a complete idiot. It's the same both sides. So yeah, we'll get right into it. So I have everything, there's a pile of trash. Everything completely blown apart. And I'm basically going to show you from this point installation. If you need a how-to on how to remove everything, you would just work backwards. So there's our beam, and what we got to do from this point is beam mounts right back there in that pocket. Beam mounts right here to your radius arm, and then from there you put your hub back on. Pretty straightforward. It's not a super difficult job, it's just kind of cumbersome. Can be if you're working on the ground like I am. But yeah. For the record, this is the correct method, and the correct method is however the hell you can squeeze yourself in here to make it work. Now, when you don't have a fancy lift and you're working on a patio, you just, your knees become extra arms, and you get creative. Also, for what it's worth, while I'm sitting here doing this all nice and awkward, ball joints in these are a pain. They just are. Because they're so close together and they're mounted in this orientation. So I'll come back to that. Right there. Amazon ball joint compressor. It's like 30 bucks. Definitely worth the buy. Definitely worth the buy. Especially if you're like me and you have way too many of these trucks. It's very handy. Well, I'm gonna get this put back, get that bolt back in, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so like 3 to 5 choice expletives later, it's in. Everything's finger tight for now, by the way. So take your 2 nuts for your ball joints, and grab your, wherever the hell I put it, camber bushing. I'm using my stock camber bushings for now because I didn't realize I ordered the 4-wheel drive ones, which are slightly bigger. So if you're going for the most amount of negative camber on a beam truck with your stock bushings, there's a little slot in them. You want the slot facing outwards, like towards the outside of the truck. So you're going to align that as such. And then you're gonna kind of monkey this thing up here. Get a bolt started. Hopefully don't crush your fingers. Alright, so from there, run the bolts the rest of the way up. These you can tighten as, you know, fully tight, not just snugged for assembly. And then we'll go on to steering. Okay, so one more thing to note. So I'm over here on the back of my truck where my vise is, separating everything. So pulling tie rods apart because I need to reuse my tie rod sleeves. One thing to note, that for starters, these tie rods were absolutely shot. But for two, and a little bit ago, I really thought that I ordered the wrong passenger side tie rod, because it is considerably larger. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it's noticeably larger than the driver's side. So if you're on Rock Auto and you're buying way too many parts like I do, and you're just clicking through, and they show up and they're different, doesn't mean they're wrong. So now that we have our tie rod sleeve, whichever you'd like to call it, we can throw all of our new tie rods back together. And some people say you have to replace them. I don't really see why, because it's basically just a flat piece of sheet metal folded into a circle and then they thread it. So unless the threads are completely gone, I don't see a purpose in replacing it. But from here, you know, thread your sleeve on. One side of it will be left-hand thread. The other side will be not left-hand thread, it'll be right-hand thread. And just kind of get it close. I've still got all the steering stuff on the other side loose as well, except for the outer tie rod. That one's fully tight, but pitman arm, this center link over here, all of those are still just like loose, because I'm gonna have to move everything and at least get it eyeball aligned until I can go to get it aligned correctly. Yeah. So another thing, and it's just a preference thing of mine, what I like to do is when I'm at roughly this point, I'll throw the spring back in, and then I like to set the truck down on a jack stand on the radius arm. That way it's kind of settled into like a, not ride height, but close enough. That way when you go to set your tie rod and your knuckle, you're kind of close. Closer than you would be if you just assembled it like this. So I'm going to throw the spring in, and then we'll keep going. I should probably tighten that bolt down all the way, shouldn't I? Okay, so how to put a spring in a Ranger. You have the really long bolt that runs through your beam and your radius arm. And on top of that, you have this little kind of symbol hat looking thing. Sits like that. And then your spring goes in about like that. My spring is wobbly because this is a 2-inch drop spring. And then once your spring is in, you just kind of eyeball where it's going to line up, because there is a notch in the top of the, oh, here, I'll show you. There's a notch in the top of the pocket right there. So you're going to want this guy kind of eyeballed around here. It's going to move around a bunch anyway, so just when you go to set it all down, make sure it's lined up. So, spring is in, and you have a dishwasher. Dishwasher goes in, and then you have another nut exactly like what's underneath that little hi-hat, and just get that one kind of finger started. And then you're going to need several long extensions, and it would really help to have a decent long ratchet. So you're going to need 1/8". Fish this from the top down in. Take another extension in there. Here. Let's see. Yeah, that works. And then don't hit your brake caliper that you didn't tie up like you were supposed to. And you just got it kind of hanging on the spring part. But then snug that nut down. Then you'll be ready to kind of lay the spring down or kind of set it down on the radius arm and kind of eyeball in your tie rod. So I'll be right back. Okay, so you'll kind of see what I'm talking about with lining this up when I start lowering it. Again, just a jack stand right underneath the radius arm, and that's going to actually put it under the beam. Why not? That's going to give us kind of a ride height to work off of when we're eyeballing in our tie rod. What I'm fighting, I'll show you again, is can you see? Yeah. So that spring tab right there, that's basically what retains your spring to keep it from falling out. So you have a couple of options. You can either bend it out of the way, or you can try to rotate the spring around to get around it, and then rotate the spring back. And that's what I'm currently trying to do. Okay, so a few more choice expletives later, it's in. So now we can set that all the way down, right? Now we're kinda at ride height, not really. Where did I put my ball joint? Tie rod in, there it is. So, now we can take this guy, thread that in. Killing me, so yeah, we can take this guy and thread that in, and I won't spare you me twisting this for an hour, yeah, I'll be right back. My brain farted and had a thought. I'm going to jack the other side up and put the other jack stand underneath the other side so that way it's level. Probably give me a better result. Okay. So we're jacked up, we're even. The steering wheel is locked and reasonably straight up and down. So now, I'm gonna finish doing that. Okay, that took forever. but it's in there and it's started, so we're good. Next is gonna be snug down the bolts. Well, the back bolt for the beam. These are tight. So yeah, then we're gonna be playing with eyeballing suspension or steering, eyeballing steering to get it half-ass aligned. Okay, so the next one. I kept getting ahead of myself. So tie rod on, brakes on. Do that first. Brakes on these trucks are painfully easy. Watch, I said that. Now it's gonna screw me. Super easy, right? Your back pad just sits in a couple of little ears on the hub. Maybe. Yeah. Sits right there. You're gonna stay? No, you're not gonna stay. Okay. So your front pad. Front pad lives in the caliper. Like that, right? Pretty straightforward. So then take your back pad, slide it in the hub after you've gouged the shit out of it because you just threw it on the concrete, and then just wiggle this guy kind of home. And you say, okay, bolts. No bolts. Not here. This is old shit. So we have been laying in the mulch. Slide pins. Yes, slide pins. So, slide pin go in top. And we go tap, tap, tap. That's it. We do that one more time. Brakes on these trucks are incredibly easy. To hit the slide pin. There we go. Okay. Brakes on. And if you ever need to change a rotor on one of these, you're not changing a rotor, you're changing the whole hub. So buy wheel bearings when you do brake rotors. Also, bonus, you get brand new studs. It's all one piece. I mean, again, Rock Auto. Buy it on Rock Auto. It's like $30 a side for new hubs. Get new dust caps too. Clacks to join up. Okay, snug up bolt for the back side of the beam, and then we throw the wheel on, and then we eyeball align it. This is the fun part. I'm lying. Probably good enough. Okay. Yeah. Wheel. How do we do wheel? What wheels do I have on this truck? You've probably already seen them. I have these. You're not in frame. And now you're in frame. Nope, still not in frame. Hold on. That was lovely, Moose. My dog's hacking up grass. And now I have to jack it up again because, can you see? Ish. I can. I'll be right back. Never think proactively if you have luck like mine. Just word for the wise. Because usually you end up doing shit twice anyways. So just do it twice. And just don't put any extra thought into it. It's easier that way, right? Anyhow, you all know how to put a wheel on. I'll be right back. Okay, so wheel on. Now, let's see. Probably gonna rub the fender a lot. Oh, well, that's gonna have to do some clearancing with a 2x4, but that's fine. That's not what we're worried about right now. So now, what we do is we stand back and we look at it and we go, yeah, it's kind of straight, maybe sorta. And then we look at the other side and we go, well, no, that's definitely not straight. So we need to do a little bit of work. So what we're going to do is we have our adjuster right there and our adjuster right there, and we're basically just going to start twisting until something decent happens. So I'm going to start twisting until something decent happens. Let's see if I can is that good enough? Kind of good enough? Yeah, I'll say that's good enough. Oh, my knee. So, let's see. Nipex Cobras. These are awesome. These literally live in my pocket all day at work. So, get a pair. And just, oh, there's the dog. You want to say hi to the dog? There's a dog. Hi, dog. That's Moose. What are you doing? Nothing? Okay. Get these. Yeah, right about there. So, my steering wheel is straight, by the way. I straightened it, locked it. So that one's actually kind of close over there. This one's got to go in a lot. So I'm going to do that. And the question is, what direction is in when half of it's left-handed thread and half of it's not? And the answer is, I don't know. I'm just going to find out. I think this is correct. No, that is not correct. I'm just gonna... Oh, that's so much easier. Alright, fuck the Nipex. Okay, so now we run that one in a whole bunch. How are we looking? Kind of straight? Kind of straight? Kind of hard to tell? Very hard to tell? But straighter than it was. We're gonna go in a little bit more. Here, there you go. There you go. Probably about that much, right? Maybe? No, way too much. Okay, we go back out. That's the same way? I don't remember. Let's see. How are you moving? Is that back out? I think that's back out. Anywho, I'm going to keep doing this for a little while until I feel like it's okay-ish. And I'll be right back. Okay, so I've been farting with it for a little bit. It's good enough to at least try it and see how weird it wanders down the road. So, little Ooga Dooga. You don't need the big one. Oh, I done lost my sock. There you go. Okay. Now we set it down and see how bad I gotta roll the fenders with a piece of 2x4. That should be fun. Okay, so it's on the ground. And a little bit close. A little close. But nothing a little bit of massaging won't fix. So I'm gonna set you guys up. And I'm going to back this up a little bit to let everything kind of shift and settle. And I'll give you a chance to hear it run too. So ignore the exhaust leak and just listen to the wonderful lump of a 4-cylinder with too big of a cam for the million miles that are on that motor. Wonderful, right? So let's see. It's still, well, it's also not on flat ground, but it's still a little bit, hi Moose. Hi Moose. What? Okay. Still a little bit biased to the rear. Hi Moose. So we're gonna have to come up with probably another inch in the front. But that's workable. We can do that. Okay, so we're back out on flat ground. Not bad. I guess it's about even. It's just maybe a 1/4 of an inch higher in the front than the rear. And the dog is chasing a grasshopper. But yeah, overall I'm pleased with how that looks. So I'm gonna go loop it around the block and see how bad it pulls all over the road, and then I'll go back and play with tie rods more, and you guys have a great day. Yeah, I don't think you have enough mowers. Also, my morning has been, et voila, it is level. So new beams in the front, new I-beams. Check them swanky units out, right? Yeah. So 2-inch drop coil and a 3-inch drop from the new beams. They move the knuckle up and they fix some of the camber. Yeah, so 5 inches in the front and like 6 or 7 in the rear because I got a short shackle and an axle flip. So yeah, voila, le shit box is low.